if you don't know him, I was very fortunate. Sorry, Grant.
Okay.
I apologize.
It's all good.
I was very fortunate to have been able to coach Grant when he's in high school. He is a 2019 graduate. He was very active when he's in high school. He was very involved in activities, athletics. He was one of our best students at his time in school. To give you an indication of his level of success, during high school, he was a 3-time all-conference champion in the 110 and 300 meter hurdles. He's a 2-time conference champion in the 100 meter dash and the 200 meter dash. 3-time district champion in the 110 and 300 meter hurdles. He's a 2019 state champion in the 110 meter hurdles. And he was also first team All-State in the 110 meter hurdles, the 100 meter dash, the 200 meter dash, and the 300 meter hurdles. And he currently holds the St. James School track records in the 110 meter hurdles and the 200 meter dash, the 300 meter hurdles, and also the high jump. He is also a 2-time USA track and field under 20 All-American, high school All-American. And the national champion team from Missouri in the 110 shuttle hurdle relay team, and his first place in the 110 hurdles for Team USA in the Down Under Australia relays. While in high school, he was an academic all-conference, is all-state, all-conference, all-district wide receiver, and he was an all-state, all-conference, and all-district punter. In high school, he's also a member of the National Honor Society, as well as a member of the FBLA. After Grant left us, he went on to school at the University of Iowa, a Division I track athlete. During his time as a Division I track athlete, he's a 3-time All-American hurdler. To put that in perspective, some of you may not be as familiar with track. When you think of some of the teams that he would compete against, he's competed against University of Michigan, Florida, pretty much any school that you ever see on national TV. That was the competition that Grant competes against. He is a member of the shuttle hurdle relay team that set the University of Iowa school record. He is ranked 4th on the Iowa all-time indoor top 10 hurdles list. He's ranked 8th on the Iowa all-time outdoor hurdles list. And he's also an Iowa's Big Ten Conference Sportsmanship Award winner. Academically during college, he was an academic all-district, the Big Ten Distinguished Scholar, 4-time academic all-Big Ten letter winner, Dean's List winner, as well as being part of the 3-time Big Ten championship track team in Iowa. He's married to his wife, Hunter, who is currently in her medical residency, and he's employed by the NAIA College Sports Organization in Kansas City, and he resides up in St. Joe, Missouri. So I've asked Grant to step up to you and share some words of encouragement with you. He's undoubtedly one of my favorite athletes, if you can't tell. Grant Conway.
Okay. All right. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'll try not to get too close or too far away from the mic. But when I was sitting in your guys' seat 6 short years ago, I had no idea that I'd have the opportunity to be back here as a speaker. It's truly an honor, and I want to thank Coach Harlan for inviting me to do this. He's always been someone I've looked up to, and he's always been there and supported me through many phases of my life. So I just personally want to give him a big thank you. I also want to thank my parents for being here. I didn't know they were going to be here today at first, so thank you for being here. Again, thank you for Matt and everyone for providing the food, and just all the other teachers and administrators for putting this event together today. I'm truly glad that you're still taking the time to recognize students for their academic successes. I really do think that it's really important, as Coach Harlan had said earlier. So with that, hello students. Again, my name is Grant Conway, and it's a pleasure to be here today speaking to you all. Before I dive in, again, I just want to give you a quick background, although you kind of already did, but I'm just going to run through a little bit about me. So yeah, again, 2019 alumni of St. James, and just as many of you currently are, I was again involved in a lot of different clubs, organizations, and sports teams. And then after graduating, I went to the University of Iowa and ran track, and then also got my bachelor's and master's degree in sport and recreation management. After those 5 or 8 years, I graduated, got married, and moved to St. Joseph, Missouri, where I currently reside with my wife Hunter and our dog Cooper. Just want to give Hunter a big shout out. Wish she could be here today, but she had a big med school exam today, so she was not able to make the trip down. But yeah, so I made the trip down to Kansas City and worked for the NAI, which is also known as the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics, and I am in a full-time position as an eligibility center coordinator. So I originally started off just in a seasonal position, and then was fortunate enough this past fall to be hired on full-time. And so I just have a hand in working with student athletes eligibility for both domestic kids here in the United States, as well as internationally all across the world, just reviewing all their documents and transcripts and past athletic histories, and just helping determine if they're going to be eligible to compete in collegiate athletics. And then I also just kind of help look at other transcript documents and other things that get sent in to us. And then we'll hop on the phone sometimes and talk to just membership, or if we even have students or parents calling us, asking about things as well. That's kind of what my day-to-day role looks like. So when I was thinking about what I wanted to speak on today, I tried to put myself back in your shoes, and so I asked myself, what did I want to know as a young high school student, and what have I learned since then that has shaped me into where I am today? So I came up with the following key elements that I thought could help guide all of you in your future pursuits. So the first is finding your passion, and then being adaptable, working hard and being consistent, creating relationships, and then managing your mental health. I understand that we do have a wide variety of students here today, and some of you are just getting a whole feel for this high school thing. This is your first year, and then others of you will just be graduating here in a little over a month, and you're going to be out on your own. So I do hope that all of you will be able to walk out of here with at least one meaningful piece of advice, because regardless of what your interests are or what stage of life you're in, these are all tools that will guide you through all parts of your life. So let's start with the first thing, finding your passion, because everything you do will be driven by it. Some of you may already have a pretty clear idea of what you want to do after high school or in the near future, and others of you are still trying to figure that out, and both of these options are perfectly okay. What you're passionate about is hardly clear from the beginning, and is also hard to figure out it completely before you turn 18. So figuring out what really interests you is sparked by discovery and a little bit of trial and error. So to give you an example from my own experience, I always knew that I wanted to go to college, but I never really knew what I wanted to do during it or after. And I was thinking back to even my first 2 years in high school. I was really into basketball. I always thought that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go get a scholarship to go play basketball in college. And I was also super passionate about psychology, and I was like, I'm going to go to college, play basketball, and become a sports psychologist eventually. Well, after those first 2 years went by, things started to change, and I was like, this basketball thing is fun, and football is fun, and I'm running track too, and that's fun, but I'm starting to get kind of good at track, and I really like it, and I'm starting to become pretty passionate about it. So I completely changed my thinking those last 2 years and started focusing more on track and wanting to pursue getting a scholarship for that in college, all while still, kind of wanting to pursue psychology. But then transitioning now to my first year of college, I'm there, I'm running track, things are great. But then again, I start thinking about my passion, what I want to do. And I'm like, this psychology thing isn't really all I thought it would be. So I started looking around, taking some other classes, and eventually, took some sport and recreation classes and was like, I really like working in sports and being involved with it. So then I flipped out again. So even for myself, this whole process has never been a clear path, and it's had its own ups and downs along the way, and took some trial and error to figure out what I actually enjoyed. So I'm sure each of you have your own stories you can reflect on, but your current stage of life is going to be the process that can be very frustrating, because it may feel like you have no idea what you want to do, and your thoughts are always changing and your ideas are always changing. But again, that's okay. That's just part of the journey. So from this, I encourage you to get uncomfortable and take some risks. Get out of your comfort zone and try something new to see if it sparks a new interest, because you may surprise yourself. This is also where becoming adaptable comes in. So because as much as we would all like to have a plan of where we're going, life isn't always going to go as planned, like I previously mentioned. In this fast-changing world, your ability to adapt to new situations, to remain flexible in the face of uncertainty will be critical. The road you're on now might not be the road you're expected to be on in a few years, and again, that's okay. There will be times when things don't go according to plan. You might face failure, disappointment, or even setbacks that feel impossible to overcome. But that's where it takes being resilient. Resilience isn't always about avoiding failure. It's about learning from it, growing through it, and continuing forward with even more determination. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity to learn and become stronger, so embrace the challenges that come your way. They will shape you into the person that you need to be. Now that you've had some time to think about what you're passionate about and how you can adapt to some of these challenges in life, the next thing I want to talk about is your hard work and consistency. Because no matter what you decide in your interests and passions are in life, the ability to consistently work hard is going to be important. And I'd say that all of you here today are already off to a great start, because you've earned the right to be here by working hard in the classroom and putting in the effort to show up to school each and every day. There are no shortcuts to success, and hard work will be the driving factor of your successes. Whether it's academics, sports, arts, or anything else, consistent effort over time is what separates those who achieve from those who don't. This means pushing through when things get tough. It means taking pride in the process, not just the outcome. Hard work is about showing up even when you don't feel like it, and continuing to improve one small step at a time. It's a willingness to learn, to practice, and to put in the hours, even when the results aren't immediate. But working hard has always been instilled in my brain from a very young age, and part of that's just from how I was raised up. And my efforts throughout young life, high school, and college, things were no different. If I set my mind out to accomplish something, I was going to work hard every day until I got there. And again, as it was kind of read off earlier, some of the both athletic and academic accomplishments from high school and college, I day in and day out would just work on those things and focus on those things. I was striving to be on the honor roll in high school and get to come to events like this, just as much as I was striving to go out and be one of the best athletes in my position in the state. The same in college. Once I decided that I wanted to pursue my master's degree, for example, I was working super hard in the classroom to try and get as high of a GPA as I could and be on the dean's list and get those academic achievements just as much as I was trying to be as successful as I could in the athletic side of things as well. So I would just encourage you all in the same way, and just every little thing that you do. It doesn't have to even be academic or athletic related, just in everything that you do in your life. Just work hard at it every single day, and just build on it day by day. And then at the end of it, whenever you reach whatever goal you set for yourself, you'll look back and realize how much work you put into it, and it'll mean just that much more to you. And so it wasn't always easy putting in this much hard work and time and effort. At first, there might not be immediate results, but over time, I learned that showing up every day, whether or not it seemed to be making a difference, was always what made a difference in the long run. I feel like, this is a common analogy. You're planting a tree and you don't always see the roots growing underground, but they're right there. They're just setting the foundation for something bigger. So again, don't get discouraged if you're not where you want to be yet. Consistency doesn't mean being perfect. It means just trying your best, even on the days when you really don't feel like it. Now let's talk about relationships. So whether you're going into the workforce, the military, furthering your education in college, or no matter what you do, one thing does hold true, and that is people matter. The relationships you build with others will have a huge impact on your life. And I know the term networking sounds intimidating or like something that only professionals or adults do, but trust me, it's something that starts right now for each one of you. So get to know your peers, your teachers, and others around you, because you never know when a connection you make today will open a door for you down the road. I can think of many examples for myself when networking and building relationships have been a huge benefit for myself, even starting back as far as high school. Whenever, again, I was looking to go compete collegiately, I had ran into this guy who was a club high school coach for a track team in St. Louis, and we just kind of got to know him out of nowhere, and just built this relationship with him, and he ended up opening some doors for me as far as recruiting went, and he started just giving me some tips and helpful pieces of advice, and even just started reaching out and introducing me to some college coaches, which again was something that I'm super thankful for, because had it not been for him, I may not have made these other connections with other coaches and then ended up where I got to. Another example of this comes from more recent in my current job. So as I previously mentioned, I started off in a seasonal position, which basically means you're just there part-time, and once that season is over, you're pretty much just let go, and that's it. So we had 10 seasonal employees, and then at the end of the summer, there were 2 full-time positions that were opening up. And so we had the opportunity to apply for that. And so I made it a point not only to kind of help steer me in the right direction for hopefully getting the job, but also truly just because I wanted to just network with people and get to know people around the office. So I made it a point to just set up meetings and just talk to people, get to know a little bit more about them, get to know more about the organization and just the different roles there were, and also just seek any professional advice. Just as someone who is getting into the workforce for the first time, I just wanted a little bit of guidance on things. And so I just talked to people. And ultimately, I feel like that did help me a little bit with getting the position, because in the interview they mentioned, we see that and hear that you've been talking to people around the office. Like, we think that's great that you're showing initiative in building these connections just to better yourself. And so again, I think that is just super important to highlight about how connections and just surrounding yourself with people can benefit you. But also surrounding yourself with people who are going to challenge you and support you and just push you to be better. And again, like as I've mentioned, not building relationships just for your own benefit, but because you feel that you can also better those people yourselves. So lastly, with all those things being said, the most important thing, and something that gets overlooked the most, is just your mental health and well-being. As you go through life, you're going to face stress, you're going to face setbacks and moments of doubt, and it's easy to think that you have to keep pushing through and that you can't show vulnerability or ask for help. But I'm here to tell you guys that taking care of your mental health is just as important as anything else as I've talked about today. Don't let the pressure of being successful or getting everything right at a young age cloud your well-being. It's okay to not be okay sometimes. It's okay to take breaks and seek help and just guidance whenever you need it. You guys are fortunate that you're part of a school where you can get to know a lot of people across a lot of grades. I know personally for me, when I was in school, that was something I tried to do. Just whether that was in the sports or other activities I was involved in, you just get to intermingle with a variety of people who you may not hang out with outside of school, and that's great. Just building up that network and just getting to know each other on a personal level is a true benefit of being at a school this size. So I encourage you just to do that. Get to know one another and take care of each other. It doesn't matter what background you come from or who you hang out with or any of that. It isn't hard to just be a nice person and to truly just care for one another. After all, you guys are all part of the same team in the same community. So lift one another up in encouragement, especially when the stressors of life are getting in your way. Just surround yourself with people that you really care about. So just closing things up, I want to remind you that the journey ahead of you is uniquely your own. There will be challenges, there will be so many opportunities to grow, but finding your passion, working hard, staying consistent, being adaptable, building these relationships, and taking care of your health and well-being will get you through these things. And when times get tough, remember that every step you take, even the small ones, is a step forward. You've already proven that you're capable of greatness by being here today, and I know you'll continue to show that in whatever you choose next. So thank you guys, and I wish you all the best of luck in your next steps in your journey.
We appreciate you coming down, Grant. It's about a 4 or 5 hour drive from where he lives, so he drove down yesterday, stayed the night, and he's here today. I will tell one story on Grant. One thing that when you see his accolades, you pretty well figure he's always had success in everything he's done. He has had a ton of success, but there has been those moments where he's also had some of the most difficult times in his chosen venture of being a track athlete. And he probably won't like this, but I'm going to tell it anyway.
Well, I considered it, so go ahead.
Okay, so Grant is an accomplished athlete as you're ever going to see. All right, and I read you his athletic bio. It's extremely impressive. But I remember his junior year in track, and I think it was a sectional meet, and Grant is ranked for almost 3 straight years. He is ranked number 1 in the high hurdles. If you run track, you know all the timing that's online and everything. He's ranked pretty well number 1 for 3 straight years. He gets the sectional track meet, and I think it was the second or third hurdle. I was standing right behind him at the track meet, and he gets over the first hurdle clean, and it's never happened before, and it never happened since. For some reason, he hit really heavy with his lead foot on the hurdle, and he fell. He's fallen before, but he hit the hurdle so hard with his lead foot, he completely went down, completely prone on the ground, completely on his belly, and he's the number 1 ranked hurdler in the state. So he goes down, he jumps back up, he's in 8th place coming out of the second hurdle. He jumps back up, and he runs. He's catching people. He ends up 5th. Only the top 4 move on to state. He's the number 1 athlete in the state at the time. So he still has other events he's got to do throughout the rest of the meet at the end. And he ends up qualifying and moving on in those. Probably one of the most difficult days in his life. And the reason I tell you that story is because when you see his bio, it's easy to assume that it's always been easy. Grant put in a ton of work. He's had some big disappointments in his career, but the one thing he's trying to impress on you, as I listen to him talk, you guys right now, I would call this group, you are set for success in your life. You're off to a great start. There are going to be a few setbacks here and there. There's going to be times when something doesn't quite go your way. But I would tell you, Grant set a great example when it would have been real easy when he jumped up in that race and he was in 8th place. Significantly in 8th place, by the way. He was in 8th place. It would have been real easy for him to just, hey, I'm so far back, there's no chance. But he got up and he got 5th place basically probably less than a half a second. He almost got qualified, but he had that disappointment. Okay, so when you run into things that are difficult, I wanted to make sure you understood. Even though he's a super accomplished, there are going to be some difficulties, but that's why you do the things you're currently doing, You do it enough to get your success built up so that when you face those difficulties, you've got enough built up behind you that you can overcome those difficulties. Okay, and so that was just a quick story I wanted to share about Grant. I've always been impressed with his ability to overcome those obstacles because it's not always been easy for him. But he's able to push on through. And you guys are currently setting yourself up to be able to do the same types of things in whatever it is. Whether it doesn't have to be athletics, it doesn't have to be fine arts, it doesn't, whatever you choose, you're setting yourself up by continuing to do what you're doing right now. That's what you need to continue to do until you're through your high school career and then on past high school. So go ahead and relax here. I'm going to turn this music on. We'll relax. I'll let you know when the buses pull back up. Appreciate you all being here today. Just sit around, relax, shoot the bull, and we will talk. If you want to have a little bit more cake, there's some more cake over